Four friends decide to partake in their last job as major thieves, but it was a setup. Now the robbers have become the hunted. How will they deal with the situation where the focus is now on them? A couple gets into their car and drives away. People sit in another vehicle and wait for them to leave. When they do, 3 people from the parked car exit and head for the house. They break in and disarm the alarm. The girl calms the dog that runs to them. What they are there for is a certain painting. They find and collect it soon. Bad luck arrives. As the man in the parked vehicle sees the couple's car returning, he gets worried, and the owner comes out and enters his house. He goes into a room and picks up a purse before leaving. After that, the thieves leave and return to the van. In the next scene, a lady talks to a store owner about what a particular item symbolizes. Then 2 of the thieves enter that store, and she leaves. Their presence makes him put the closed sign on the store. One of them, Chaz, gives the man the painting, and he hands them their money. The man also wants to give them more work, but the leader, Leon, declines. While playing pool, he tells the rest of the crew that he turned down the next job offering. The member, Vix, shows dissatisfaction with his quitting. This prompts Leon to ask for Chaz's opinion, who says he wants them to take the job. Leon shows his anxiety about his decision. Later, they break into a van somewhere and drive off. At night, they arrive at a locked gate. Todd breaks the chains with pliers, and they ride through. We see that they have entered the Redwick estate, the size of which amazes Chaz. They exit the van, and Chaz wants to go in with them. This time, Leon lets him and enters the enormous building. The alarm goes off, which he quickly disarms. They all enter, and the decorations amaze them. The crew searches for their item, each immersed in the process of finding it. Chaz opens a music box and sets it down after a few seconds. Soon enough, they discover a door is open that was locked before. Chaz remarks they are not alone. Meanwhile, Vix finds jewelry that she wants to take, but Leon calls her and says they have to leave. Regardless of his command, she puts on a pearl necklace and observes herself in the mirror. Suddenly, a man comes out and says it suits her. He follows that compliment by shocking her with an electric stick, which brings her down. Afterward, Leon and Chaz get downstairs and notice a cell phone ringing on the floor. It being from Chaz confuses them. But worse than the confusion is that other people come out and shock the thieves just like Vix. One of them comes to Leon and tells him he picked the wrong house. Then, he knocks him out with a strike. The next scene has the crew waking up restrained in the back of a vehicle. They all panic and struggle. The ride ends and the backside gets open. A lady introduces their situation to them. She finishes, and the man that struck Leon starts throwing them out. The lady informs them that she could have called the police, but the justice system is not effective. The man sprays a liquid on them, and she says the working class has fallen from its nobility. That leads her to cut Leon's hand restrained. As soon as she does, he tries to do something, but the man prevents that by punching him to the ground. The lady tells them good luck, and she and the man drive away. The gang undoes their restraints and expresses disappointment with being caught. Todd notices they were sprayed with urine. The 2 main factors that come to Chaz are why the lady wished them luck and let them go. So, they start walking and wonder what they're going to do. Todd says they could make a compass, but Vix makes it clear that a compass is worthless if they don't know where they are. As they continue to walk, Chaz hears something and asks the rest if they did too. Vix says she hears it when it sounds again, which now sounds like a car to Chaz. In a short while, the crew sees some people coming their way from a distance. They think it's a fox hunt, and Chaz thought those were banned. Leon confirms that they are. It suddenly strikes Leon that they are being hunted, so he tells them to run. As they do, dogs chase them. The group escapes them in the nick of time by going into the water. They make it across and see the 4 hunters on horseback. The lady, Catherine, talks to them some more before they run away. That leaves the hunters to talk among themselves for a short while. After that, the hunted rest near some fallen trees. Vix collects a stick, and the rest mimic her. They keep walking, and Chaz believes the store owner set them up. Leon tells him the man will get what's coming to him. Shortly after, Todd steps in some manure. That disappoints him, but it's nothing compared to the bear trap that comes next. Luckily, it breaks his stick instead of his leg. That makes more bear traps visible to them. Following that, they hear the horns behind them. Rather than traversing cautiously, Todd gets scared and runs ahead. They all follow him, and the hunters appear with their dogs. The crew gets to a wall and starts climbing it. Todd touches a loose rock, causing him to fall into a bear trap. Chaz and Leon start undoing it, while the dogs are drawing closer. When they free him, they all climb the wall, with Leon being last in line. The dogs attach themselves to his leg, and he struggles to elevate himself. So he lets go, and the animals get him. This makes Chaz yell in sorrow. Vix and Todd grab him, and they continue running through the woods. Later, Vix tends to Todd's wound while Chaz stares into space. The girl wants revenge against the hunters, but Todd and Chaz do not. Chaz says that Leon would have wanted them to escape. Meanwhile, we see the hunters sit and celebrate their defeat of Leon. However, they notice he is still alive. This brings Catherine to use a knife to take his life away. Afterward, she gives it to her son, Miles. The gang keeps walking and comes across a road. They hear a vehicle driving nearby. Believing it could be one of the hunters, they concoct a quick plan. It is revealed to be the Redwick servant, Mallory. He sees Vix lying on the road and comes to her, where he radios to the family his and her location. He flips her over, and Todd slams the man with a stick. Todd and Chaz get inside his vehicle, while Vix kicks Mallory many times in anger. Next, she gets inside, and the crew notices there are no keys in the car, so they are forced to exit and run again. The hunters come to Mallory, and he informs them about the hunted group's clever tactics. Subsequently, Chaz talks about going to a nearby farm and using a phone to call the police, but Vix objects to that because the police could lock them away for what they've done. Soon, they hear the horns again and wonder how they keep finding them. Then, they realize the dogs could detect Todd's wound. That brings Todd to tell them they should go, and he will meet them later at the farm. So, they go their separate ways. Eventually, Vix and Chaz jump a fence and enter the farm. They locate a door, and Vix starts picking its lock. While she does, she tells Chaz how she first started doing it before unlocking the door and stepping inside. Meanwhile, Todd washes his leg in the water. Mallory informs the family that the group has split, and Catherine decides that so should they. Chaz and Vix make their way in the kitchen and drink some milk. After that, they start looking for keys. Vix finds an empty shotgun and comes to Chaz to show it off. In that room, Chaz confesses that they're stuck there because of him, but Vix tells him that Leon didn't do anything he didn't want to. She comforts her friend some more. We next see Catherine and Remington get lured to the water by Todd's bandages. Remington remarks that it was a sly move. In the farmhouse, Chaz sees a phone and starts dialing 911, but we do not see him dial the last number because Vix calls him. So, he comes to her, and she offers him some food. Following that, Mallory empties himself, and Todd appears there to quietly take something from his vehicle. When Mallory drives away, we see Todd take his radio. Later, Miles and his father, Hugo, walk at the farm and see tracks. They start making sounds to let the hunted know they're present. Vix sees Hugo singing through the window. Hugo gives his son a whistle, saying to blow it if they run. At that moment, Vix tells Chaz to equip himself with the shotgun, since they don't know it's empty. Then we see Todd spying on Miles. Hugo comes to the door, and Vix locks it and sprays underneath for the dog to run away. She follows that by spraying Chaz. He turns on the gas stove and places some aluminum in the microwave. Shortly after, Miles enters, while his father attempts to break through the door like the big bad wolf. Miles sees the situation that Chaz prepared and blows his whistle. An explosion happens that sends Hugo back. Catherine and Remington hear it and go to the farm. In there, Hugo searches for his son. Todd sees his friends and runs to them. Soon enough, Hugo sees Miles walking outside and being severely injured. After some seconds, he collapses. Vix and Todd congratulate Chaz for his work, but he never meant to cause what he did. The others come to Hugo and observe the damage the hunted created. After escaping, the gang walks in the woods and Todd shows them the radio. Chaz wonders if there's an emergency number on it. This causes Vix to get angry, as she tells him it's about destroying versus getting destroyed. At the farm, Hugo becomes angry and equips himself with a scoped rifle. Sometime later, the hunted walk and recognize the place because the signs were taken down. Chaz sits and starts to lose hope. At that point, Catherine calls on the radio Todd stole. She knows they have it. Chaz informs her they contacted the police, but she tells him they are out of range for them. That brings him to question their motive for doing this. She lets him know that they came into the Redwicks' home and not vice versa. Additionally, they are trespassers because all this land is hers. After that conversation, the group locates a climbable tree that could allow them to see far. So, Chaz climbs it and says he sees a village that isn't too far away. His friends tell him to come down because someone is coming. So he does, and they run. We see Hugo looking at them through his scope. He also sees two vehicles driving. In the woods, Chaz tells Todd to go in a certain direction to the village. He and Vix are done with running. The hunters get out of their vehicles, and Remington says the hunted might make it to the village. Catherine says she's impressed, and at that moment, they become surprised by the howling of Chaz and Vix. As Todd walks through the woods, he discovers an unmounted horse. Hugo presents himself behind a tree and points his rifle at the wounded man. Then, he smacks him with it. On the ground, Todd starts laughing. He tells Hugo that they marry their cousins, which is why they're insane. He attacks the Redwick afterward, and they struggle together. Soon enough, Todd gets him on the ground, but Hugo combines his knife with Todd's stomach. After freeing himself, he collects the rifle, and everyone hears the rifle firing. What comes next is Catherine telling Remington that he can go. She will hunt alone from now on. At night, the man eats at an outside table, and we see Chaz and Vix sneaking behind. Meanwhile, Catherine finds a lifeless Todd with Hugo sitting nearby. She tells him it's barbaric, but he retaliates by saying it's justice, because they took his son. Not much time goes by until he falls over, revealing to Catherine he has a knife in his back. Back at the table, Remington tells a joke, causing fake laughter among his subordinates. That is when Vix comes behind him, pointing a gun at the man. Chaz joins her by spilling urine on Mallory. He tells him to tie the others. Remington hides a knife in his coat as he stands up. He asks Vix if she ever fired a gun. What follows is him coming at her, not thinking that she could, but the girl shoots him down. When Mallory comes at her, she shoots him too, but he survives the blast, so he grabs her. Next, Chaz blows the trumpet that causes the hounds to come out and attack the enduring man. Later, we see Chaz and Vix riding in one of the vehicles through the woods. Due to it being difficult, Chaz drives into a tree. A branch impales Vix's shoulder, bringing her to tears. Chaz slowly backs up, allowing the branch to exit. He takes her out, and they walk in the dark. but the girl falls and tells him she's done. She wants him to be good and to run away now, so he promises to be that and starts running. In a short time, Catherine finds Vix. The lady offers her some alcohol, and she loses her life after drinking it. Then Chaz enters the village and goes into a bar there. The bartender notices his horrid condition and tends to the young man. Chaz informs them that he's been chased by people with dogs. We see the lady talking to him some more, and she wants to prepare for him a sandwich. After she leaves, Chaz notices a trumpet hanging there. And worse, he sees a newspaper article of the bartender winning a Redwick Award on the wall. This prompts Chaz to rush out of the bar. Outside, he encounters a police car, his last chance at an escape. We see him riding in the backseat. He gets asked by the officer what he was doing up there. Chaz remains silent about that. Soon, he notices that they're going the wrong way. The vehicle enters the Redwick estate, filling Chaz with panic and a strong desire to be released. But the officer does not listen to him and parks the car near the front door. Catherine stands there, sharpening her knife, and the officer opens the back door. Chaz exits the vehicle, and the lady offers him some food and drink. But he doesn't want anything from her. She lets him know that she's impressed with his ability to have survived. As a reward, she offers him a bag filled with money. He says it's blood money, and adds she took the life of his brother. She tells him the same happened to her, and follows that by telling him he can go freely. He then hears a vehicle being backed up behind him. Catherine hands him the bag, and he accepts it. After that, Chaz gets inside the van that was prepared for him, and starts driving away. Considerably later, we see the store owner who gave them the job leave his store for the night and enter his car. In there, he sees a package from Chaz on the passenger seat. A trumpet lies inside. What comes next is him seeing Chaz look at him and walking away after that.